What's up, gang? Mike here, head trader at True Trading Group. And on April 2nd, red day for me. I just made one trade. It was a very inactive day for me. I really didn't necessarily love anything. AVEO was definitely the trade of the day. A lot of people in chat caught this move. I was not one of them today. I was not focusing on AVEO. I was focusing on a bunch of other leading gappers, and they all ended up failing. The stocks that I was looking at kind of early in the morning, and my attention was not on AVEO, but it was a really good setup. So I'm going to go over with you guys my one losing trade on the day. And I'm going to go over with you also this AVEO. Before I get into the technicals on that, on these trades, I want to just, a little bit of a mental discussion real quick, guys, is because a lot of traders have a tendency to overtrade, especially when they're negative, and especially when they're red. They feel pressure that they have to make back what they just lost, and they start to force trades. And on the flip side, a lot of traders, when they are up money and they're trading well, they shut it down because they want to protect their profits and they're scared to give back the money that they just made. And it's very strange how the human mind works that way, because it should be the exact opposite. Okay, do not feel pressured to trade when if you're red on the day, or if you're in a funk. Okay, or if you just took a big loss or something like that, and you feel pressure that you've got to make the money back. Do not ever feel that way. Stay patient. Wait for setups that you really like, because after the one trade I made today, it was an SGMO, and I took a loss on the trade. I didn't love anything. Really, guys. I didn't just disappear at like 11 o'clock. No, I'm here for the whole day. I traded the whole day, and there wasn't anything that I saw that I was looking at throughout the course of the day that I really loved, that I would have considered like an A+ setup. AVEO was an A+ setup early in the morning, but I was focusing on other things, so I missed that setup. And then after it made its break, I really didn't feel comfortable. So this was in here was the A+ setup, and I'm going to go over that. I'm going to go over that with you. But after it made its move, right, I just wasn't comfortable getting long this at any point in here. I just wasn't. It was lunchtime. It started. Stocks got a large float. It just started to kind of drift its way higher, and looked like it was going to fail at highs there around 120, and then it just rallied it back and squeezed up to fill the gap on the daily. We were looking for this stock to fill the gap. That was part of the game plan in the morning. One of our TTG moderators, Alex, also he caught this AVEO in the morning. It was one of the stocks he was focusing most on, and actually caught the gap fill. And here's the daily chart. Here's the gap fill. Okay, that I'm talking about. There's your gap, and there's your fill. We caught it today, and that was always the game plan with the trade. But I couldn't find an area that I felt safe entering this position up in here. What I was looking for, really, guys, was after this move. Okay, I was looking for a pullback into this region. Okay, because right there was at the time the 38.2 Fibonacci level. Okay, you can see here's your 38.2 Fibonacci level, and you see how it lines up with VWAP down in here. VWAP is this orange line on my screen. I was looking for a pullback into here, kind of bounce around, do this for a little while, and then coming out of lunchtime, then make its move. Okay, so I would have been ready to pull the trigger on this had we gotten that type of action, because I look for stocks that have strong mornings that hold above key support levels during lunchtime. And the 38.2, which lined up the VWAP, would have been a nice key area of support that we could have gotten long in front of coming out of lunchtime. Okay, but it just didn't happen. It wasn't in the cards. It just kept grinding and grinding and grinding its way higher, and it went up and it filled the gap during lunch. So I never got into the trade. But the point of me discussing this is because I don't want to see you guys going out there and maybe you take a loss on the day and you feel like you've got to make it all back, and you find yourself getting sucked into B or C type setups that you maybe normally wouldn't trade if you, let's say, were up on the day, because you're putting this pressure on yourself like you have to make that money back. And I did not do that today. I did not love anything. I really didn't love anything. Even SGMO, I didn't love that either. But I took a tier 1 entry on it in the morning, and then I did end up adding to that position up to a full-size position, but I kept a tight stop on it, and because I really didn't love it that much, and I ended up selling out of it, taking a loss, but a very, very manageable loss. It wasn't I didn't get really hurt, but I'm right on the day, and I just didn't like anything else that came up, so I didn't make any more trades. So don't put that pressure on yourself. Don't feel forced like you have to trade. Nobody's standing behind you, forcing you to trade. So stay disciplined, stay patient, wait for opportunities. I didn't really necessarily like anything today, so I stayed away from it. Okay. So before I get into AVEO, let's go over my trade real quick on SGMO. Okay. SGMO gapped up, and then pulled in right off the bell. Then we had this green engulfing candle. Okay. Originally, my game plan off the bell, guys, pre-market, my game plan was for 1275 area to hold support. So I was, we pulled in a little bit deeper than that 1275 area, but 1275 was a line I drew on my screen pre-market. Okay, when you go out to a daily chart, I'll show you guys why. This is why I was looking at this area to hold support. You guys can see a previous triple bottom support, okay, back in 2018. Then you fast forward to December of 2018, and then January, and then February. You guys can see a triple top resistance. So here, triple bottom support, triple top resistance. We were gapping above that level today, and this purple line on my screen is the 200-day moving average. The 200-day moving average lines up dead even, okay, lines up dead even with this level. So because of this is why I was looking for 1275, this area. It's why I drew this line on my screen pre-market, and this is why SGMO was my game plan to start the day. So off the gap up, we pulled in right into the area that I was looking for. So once we got this candle, this big, strong green engulfing candle, I said, bang, there's that support that I was looking for, that we talked about, okay, that I just went over with you. There's that level that I was expecting support to kick in after we gapped above that triple top resistance. The 200-day moving average came into play. There's the support I was looking for. It just showed its face to me. Okay, so once that happened, I went ahead and I got long a tier 1 position right here. I'll take you to my trade announcements. Here you guys can see, okay, long a tier 1 SGMO at 1306. Okay, 1306. So I'm long a tier 1 position right there. Stop loss is the low of the day. Okay, I almost added to this position. I ended up adding to this position, but a little bit later. I almost added to this position right here when we got above VWAP, but I held myself back from adding to the position there because the trade line was still so far away. And if you watched my previous video about a lesson on the trade line VWAP crossover, you know that's what I'm looking for to push this stock through VWAP and up to the high of the day. And I did not add up here because the trade line was still all the way down at the low of the day. Had VWAP been, had the trade line been, let's say, right here, okay, then I probably would have added to a full-size position right there and looked for the trade line to cross over, okay, and then get a trade line, a trade line VWAP crossover, and then that would have pushed the stock up, back up towards the high of the day. But the trade line was not there. It was all the way down at the low of the day. So I did not add to the full-size position at that point, and we ended up pulling all the way back down to retest the lows. Okay, but you can see here the lows start to hold. I then said to myself, well, you know what? Maybe this is kind of a descending triangle pattern. Okay, here's maybe this little descending triangle pattern with lower highs and this support level that, this is the line I drew pre-market. Well, maybe I'm just a couple cents off. I just move it down slightly. And now you see a little bit of a descending triangle pattern. So I said to myself, if we break up and out of this downtrend resistance line, guys, I'm going to add to a full-size position. Sure enough, we broke up and out of that downtrend resistance line. Okay, I added right here to a full-size position. I got tier 2 right there on that break. My first take profit target was going to be in front of the high of the day, which at the time was 1391. I had an order out at 1380 and I did not get filled. The high of this move is 1374, so I did not get a fill on any of the position. And then, guys, if a descending triangle pattern is a true breakout, you will not pull back inside the triangle. So once we pulled back down below 13, right there, I exited my entire position at 12.95. Take you back to my trade announcements here. You guys can see I sold out SGMO at 12.95. And again, that was a full-size position. So here's tier 1, here's tier 2, and here's the exit. Okay, you see we never got the trade line VWAP crossover, and we pulled back in below VWAP, back into that triangle, and then it was kind of game over after that. The stock just really didn't do anything the whole rest of the day, just, you know, traded sideways, really. I mean, here, just look at this. You know, I mean, nothing really. I mean, it literally just did nothing. So that was my only trade on the day. You know, I didn't get the action I was looking for, and it was, and I didn't really love anything else the rest of the day, so I just kind of kept it tight the rest of the day. But that was my one trade. Next, we have AVEO. Okay, AVEO was gapping up this morning, okay, into a gap. Here is the gap entry point on the daily. Okay, here's the gap entry point on the daily. You can see yesterday we popped our head above that area, and today we're gapping above it. Okay, so what we're looking for now is for yesterday's high to hold as an area of support. Okay, and if it's not yesterday's high, we're looking for that gap entry point, which also happens to be yesterday's close. We're looking for that to hold support. So here's your primary level of support, and here's your secondary level of support. Okay, you can see yesterday's highs. Let me pan this over so you can see more clearly. You can see yesterday's highs held support right off the bell on a pull-in. We came back down to retest that level, okay, and we put in really a triple bottom gap up. Very, you know, same concept, guys, as my double bottom gap up pattern that I covered with you in previous videos. Same exact concept, instead of just two lows, you had a triple bottom low, so it tested it 3 times before making its move. And as I pan this over, I want you guys to notice you had resistance at VWAP, you had the triple bottom support at the previous high, and then as soon as you got a trade line VWAP crossover right there, you got this explosive move. There's your trade line VWAP crossover. You get this strong move through VWAP. Okay, the trade line then acts as an area of support, and then continues to push this stock higher. Here, trade line holds support again and just pushes the stock higher. We had a little moment of consolidation, okay, during lunch, and then we just started to squeeze into the late lunch session, and I just wasn't comfortable pulling the trigger on this at that point because it was lunchtime, okay, and I just wasn't really too crazy about the risk reward on an entry at that time. I didn't get the pullback that I was looking for down towards 38.2 fib and VWAP. It just kind of kept churning. It was like kind of a stair step. We really never got, you know, it just kind of stair stepped its way higher and then just, you know, kind of made a move there around 130. So it wasn't the cards for me today, guys. But here, let me go back. I'll show you. Alex nailed this one. You guys can see here, long AVEO at 125. Okay, took some off at 135, took more off at 145, and then he closed out the position for a 40% gain at $1.76 for a complete gap fill. Okay, $1.76 is right there, and there is your complete gap fill. I'll take you guys to the daily chart, and there it is. There is your gap fill. So he stuck to the game plan, and he held a piece of that position, tier trading. Okay, tier trading working out beautifully, holding on to a position, getting the most out of the winner, staying in the winning trade longer, and a complete gap fill. A lot of members caught this trade today. A lot of our guests, today was TG Tuesday. The chat room was free, open for everybody that wanted to come and join us. So a lot of guests and members caught this trade along with Alex. So it still was a good day. We ended up catching, you know, one of the few stocks that really made a nice, clean, definitive move. I just wasn't one of the people that caught it. So sucks, but can't catch them all. All right. Tomorrow's a new day, new opportunities. I'll see you guys in chat tomorrow. Take care.